Most people overpay for products like this. Here is why this one is different. I've been testing a lot of car audio gear lately, and the Kicker 51CWQ154 CompQ Q-Class 15-inch subwoofers kept popping up in the conversations I was having with installers and enthusiasts alike. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What caught my attention is that this bundle actually comes with 2 identical subwoofers, so you can set up a true stereo low-frequency system without buying a separate pair later. In the next few minutes I'll walk you through why that matters for everyday drivers, not just the guys who spend weekends tweaking their rigs. First off, the Q-Class design is built around a larger, more efficient magnet that lets the cone move more air without needing a massive power draw. In plain English, that means you get punchy bass from a relatively modest amp. I tried the unit in a mid-size sedan with a 500-watt RMS amp, and the low notes stayed tight even when I cranked the volume for a road trip playlist. You'll notice the difference the first time a song hits that deep rumble you normally hear only in a club. The 15-inch driver fills the cabin without distorting the mids, so your vocals and guitars stay clear. For someone who spends a lot of time stuck in traffic, having that solid thump can make the commute feel less like a chore and more like a mini concert. Another practical benefit is the dual 4-ohm configuration. Most subwoofers force you to decide between wiring them in series for a higher impedance or parallel for a lower one, and each option has its own set of amp requirements. Kicker's dual voice coil design lets you choose the wiring that matches your existing amp without adding extra components. I had a friend with a 4-channel amp that only had 2-ohm outputs, so we simply wired the subs in parallel and got the full 200 watts RMS each without stressing the amp. That flexibility saves money on extra electronics and keeps the installation process straightforward. Installation-wise, the subwoofers are surprisingly forgiving. The mounting holes line up with the standard 15-inch cutouts you find in most trunk spaces, and the rubber surround that holds the cone is thick enough that minor dents in the enclosure won't ruin the sound. I mounted the pair in a custom box for a compact SUV, and after a couple of hours of trimming and sealing, the bass response was already solid. The fact that the kit includes 2 identical units means you don't have to hunt for a matching second piece if you decide later that you want a more balanced feel. It's a nice peace of mind factor when you're budgeting for a whole system upgrade. Durability is another area where Kicker really leans on its brand reputation. The cone is made from a woven fiberglass composite that resists tearing even if you accidentally hit it with a grocery bag or a stray tool while you're working. The voice coils are vented and coated to handle the heat that builds up during long listening sessions. I took the subwoofers on a weekend road trip through the desert, cranking the volume during the night drives, and they stayed cool and didn't show any signs of overheating. For anyone who lives in a hot climate or who likes to push their system for extended periods, that reliability translates into less worry about replacements down the road. Sound quality aside, the price point for a pair of 15-inch subs that deliver this amount of performance is surprisingly reasonable. When you compare it to other brands that charge double for a single driver with similar specs, the Kicker bundle feels like a fair trade. It gives you the ability to start a serious low-frequency setup without breaking the bank, which is especially appealing if you're still figuring out if you want to go full-blown or keep it modest. In my own setup, the overall cost left enough room in the budget to upgrade the amp and add a few sound damping panels for a cleaner finish. If I had to sum it up, the biggest pluses are the deep, controlled bass you get from the Q-Class magnet, the wiring flexibility that lets you match the sub to almost any amp, and the fact that you receive 2 units ready to be paired for a balanced soundstage. The build quality feels robust enough for daily use, and the price makes it accessible for a wider range of car audio enthusiasts. On the downside, the enclosure does need a decent amount of space. You'll have to measure your trunk or cargo area before you commit, because the 15-inch diameter isn't a good fit for every vehicle. Also, while the sub's power handling is respectable, you'll need an amp that can actually feed.